A single genetic trace haunted a continent, yet no one could see the face behind it. The story begins in the early 1990s. A night watchman patrols a riverfront warehouse, his breath steaming in the cold air. He hears the sharp skitter of glass across concrete. Later, officers crouch under harsh floodlights. They snap a photograph and carefully bag a single cigarette butt, a piece of evidence that will echo for years and give birth to a legend, the Phantom of Heilbronn. From petty break-ins to brutal murders, the same strand of deoxyribonucleic acid kept appearing. It was like a phantom seam stitched across a map of crime, connecting disparate cases in Germany and Austria. But there were never any witnesses, no discernible pattern, no face, and no voice. More than 40 crime scenes, all pointing to one elusive woman who seemed to be everywhere at once. How do you hunt a ghost? How do you track a suspect who can be in two places at the same time, yet is truly in none? Detectives were baffled. They swapped theories over burnt coffee, quietly admitting their fears to one another. The case files swelled, the nights grew shorter, and the logic seemed inescapable. One person, one genetic trace, was responsible for a cross-border crime spree of terrifying scope. By the late 2000s, the Phantom's DNA even surfaced at scenes in France. The trail felt conclusive. The nickname was fixed. The fear was earned. And then a single overlooked detail cracked the entire case in the strangest way imaginable. The reveal arrived not with a bang, but as a whisper. In a cramped laboratory on a gray spring morning, a technician ran routine cross-checks. Beneath the hum of fluorescent lights, something impossible appeared. A blank control swab, one that had never been near a crime scene, showed the very same genetic pattern found at dozens of burglaries and on the bodies of victims. The room went still. The profile didn't belong to a phantom killer. It traced back to an assembly line worker in a packaging facility. Her skin cells had contaminated the cotton swabs before they were ever sent to police departments. A tiny break in the supply chain had linked dozens of unrelated crimes into one terrifying fictional narrative. A pried-open kitchen window in one city was connected to a murder in another, not by the hand of a killer, but by the invisible trace of a factory worker's cells carried on a swab. Detectives who had spent years mapping the Phantom's supposed migrations folded their charts. The budgets, the manhunts, the entire investigation, all of it was rerouted. The watchman's skittering glass hadn't signaled a murderer. It had exposed a profound procedural failure. The revelation rewrote forensic science. Boxes of swabs began arriving DNA-free. Labs tightened their protocols, demanding that a second technician double-check every swab before it ever touched a piece of evidence. Courts learned to ask a new question, not just where a trace was found, but where it was born. Today, in an age where deoxyribonucleic acid guides verdicts and at-home kits promise absolute answers, that lesson is more critical than ever. The creepiest fact isn't about a phantom criminal. It's that a ghost in the lab can whisper a story so convincing that even the most dedicated truth seekers will believe it. Because science is powerful, but it is never infallible.